That's a long time ago. I mean, what, 44 years ago? Whoa!
The feminist movement was at its peak during the 60s and 70s.
The goals were to gain equality for women, focusing on topics like equal pay, harassment and violence, voting rights, etc.
This nationwide movement came into Highlands and caused a push for more options for girls, especially in dress and sports opportunities.
This article was the inspiration for our project.
It was printed in the Highlands Fling in 1969 when females began to challenge the status quo. Girls got the option to wear slacks instead of only skirts.
This article shows that the new dress code was controversial amongst the students.
So I came to the school in 1967. It opened in 65. All right, so I was here the third year. Now, in terms of actual dress code for school, at least for a year or so, girls, at least for a year or so when I came, girls had to wear skirts or dresses. All right, I mean there were no jeans, corduroys, pants, it just wasn't allowed.
There was a slow implication of the dress code after it was changed. After looking at several old yearbooks, there was no evidence of women or girls wearing slacks for a few years until after the 1969 dress code change.
How do you feel hearing that after the dress code changed, very few women actually wore slacks? It took a while to see the implications.
I think that really speaks to the negative reaction that we saw in that article on the behalf of men, that they really discouraged women from adopting this new dress code. And I think that really shows the departure we have from the definition of womanhood then as opposed to what it is now. Then it seems that femininity was a crucial part to the definition of what it means to be a woman. But today we see a much more varied definition because largely, and the direction that hopefully we're moving towards, is that we see that to be a woman is not defined by what you wear or how feminine you are, or if you wear dresses or if you wear slacks or who you're attracted to, or if you play sports or if you are, just wearing makeup. The definition of what it means to be a woman hinges more on just gender today.
When the girls had gym, they wore these, kind of humorous to think about now, these one-piece outfits that had sort of bloomer bottoms, all puffy kind of things. That's what all girls wore for gym. There were no interscholastic teams at all for girls. That's just to show how things have changed. Once federal laws changed, Title IX, I think.
We interviewed the first principal of Northern Highlands, Mr. Mintzler, and asked him about when the dress code first began to change at the school.
I don't have the least memory of exactly when we did it. That's the way things were. I mean, I don't recall us ever having any objection to it. But you don't think the boys would care. They could care less. And then we did away with it. That's just what they all seemed to wear in those days when the school opened. That's what they had worn at Mawa, and we just sort of carried it over. And then I don't recall exactly when it happened, but it reached the day when you basically could wear almost anything you wanted to in a gym class within reason. In those days, we had no girls' sports at all. Girls had what was called play days, where they would get together with another school and engage in 2 or 3 different sports, but they weren't organized as girls' sports are today.
So when we talked to Mr. Mintzler, he said that he didn't recall any objections from boys to the change in dress code, and it kind of shows how times have changed, because there obviously were objections to it because it says so in the fling, but it kind of shows that you remember what you want to remember from history, and you don't remember everything necessarily that totally happened.
What
really strikes me about this article is that it presents a big life-changing event in the daily lifestyles of women at Northern Highlands. But when the article is presented to calculate the response and the reaction to this big event, only men are interviewed. Not a single woman is asked her opinion about this big change. And I think today we would have a more even distribution of the types of people interviewed when there's a changing event for a specific gender. But I think there's something about this article that doesn't surprise me at all, because there's something that still hasn't changed, and that is the conversation about women is still centered on men. The subject matter is still on men. If you look at any women's fashion magazine, you see that we're always asking what men want and what men are looking for and giving them the control of very female issues. Where, on the other hand, with more serious issues like rape, we give men an opportunity to escape the conversation and make the conversation all about women instead of involving men with their actions. And I think that's all I have to say about that.
I think that this is very offensive, and Highlands is clearly a very patriarchal place back in the day.
Go ahead. This article was ridiculous in that it degraded that girls wearing pants is like not like sexy enough for guys or something.
Absurd. I didn't think that it was that bad back then. I mean, I knew there was like a whole anti-women independence thing, but that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Grotesque. What a funny word.
With a backhand.
This is so good.
So, although the Fling article is displayed in the English wing, I think this event is overlooked and easily forgotten. I don't think a lot of students look at the display case, and I don't think students in general think about the evolution of dress and why they can wear pants today.
The fact that that some faculty member chose to hang this up like in the display case shows that it obviously made a big impact in like the Highlands like community and like life and everything, but still like no one really thinks about it. Like, so obviously it was important, but it's not important enough, I guess, to remember now.